Here we go! Welcome to the Nintendo Power Zone. We are a video/podcast dedicated to bringing you the best Nintendo-related topics. As always, I'm your host, NyceOne, and I'm joined by my co-host, Blooz, and we've got a Nintendo Direct to discuss, so I don't want to dilly-dally too long. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to forego the news, and we're just going to dive right into our discussion. But first, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I just had some salmon teriyaki from dinner, and I'm really full and happy.
All right, well, guys, I have been recovering from sickness, so I'm gonna do my best to mute the mic if I have to snort or cough or etc. But yeah, I'm alive. I didn't die, and I didn't make Blooz do the show alone last week because I wanted to. I was on my deathbed, it seemed. Anyhow, we got a Nintendo Direct. Let's go ahead and start with the first thing they started with, because this is legit, in my opinion, the thing I care about the least in this Direct.
All right.
And it's the worst kept secret in the
they
Direct.
Spoiled it.
Yeah, I know, right?
The accessories way before, and then the day of, in the morning, they just announced it too.
Yeah, it got leaked by Kotaku, and a piece of an accessory item leaked the game.
A couple controllers, I think, right?
Actually, it was a Switch carrying case.
And a carrying case, yeah. I mean, there's the carrying case and some controllers, right? Isn't that a Diva controller?
I have no idea. I didn't look at that much. But yeah, Overwatch, the Legendary Edition, is coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is basically Overwatch with all the DLC and whatnot, all the additional characters and all that good stuff that people who play Overwatch have access to. They've added motion controls. The game is going to run at 900p, 30 frames per second when docked, and 720p, 30 frames per second undocked. And the game will not support crossplay, period, at launch. At first, I thought this may just exclude the PlayStation version, just because Sony doesn't want to play, they don't want to share with their network infrastructure. But there was an interview that came out today where a member of Activision Blizzard said that the game will not support crossplay at launch. They're going to wait and see what the demand for crossplay is, which, so stupid. Okay. As little as I care about this game, I do want to point out that this game is too little, too late for this system. So Overwatch came out in 2016, right? But the Switch didn't launch until 2017. Okay, game was nowhere to be found. We are in year 2. We're beginning
almost
year 3. Yeah, we're about to hit year 3 in March for the Nintendo Switch, and this game is just now making its way to the Switch. Because Activision didn't think the Switch would be successful. That is 100% the truth. They didn't believe that the Switch would be successful because initially they said the Switch can't handle Overwatch. So that's code for we don't want to go through any effort and port this game. So now that they've done it, let's look at what the Overwatch world is looking like right now. The game is at record lows. They failed to really launch their own esport league. And when they did launch it, all the controversy surrounding it with things like sexism and racism and all this other stuff, where players were getting suspended and fired and fined and giving Overwatch a bad name in a larger scale. But then the Overwatch community is kind of toxic in and of itself. So we now have a game that came out too little, too late, and has all this negative stuff around it. I cannot be excited about this. A year ago, launch year, this would have been exciting news. At this juncture, it's why? I don't even want it anymore. Any thoughts?
I think you took it a bit harsher than I would have. I think it is too little, too late. I know that it's been rough with Overwatch recently. They're not doing as good as they did, in the first year that they came out. I mean, first 2 years. And I've made that point, to a friend of mine who's an avid Overwatch player, and he says that no, Overwatch is still doing good. It's not not making sales still, but it's the community's supporting it still, is what he said, and so I'll believe that. I'm a big fan of Overwatch with the motion controls. I really like that. I want that, because I had this weird jerry rig back when I played to play with motion controls. I was a motion control Orisa main. It was disgusting, but that was the only way I really would play Overwatch,
Well,
and not get to do it officially.
I mean, motion controls, they give like Switch players like a little bit more of advantage when it comes to like other console games that don't support any type of motion controls. But I just don't think they matter. I think none of this stuff actually matters now. This game is just, it's not, I hate to call it old because it's only 3 years old, but it's like the time for Overwatch is done, and we should be looking at an Overwatch 2 in the near future. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't come out yet. I guess with this announcement, it means they want to support it for a little bit longer, but at the end of the day, like, I'm just so not excited. And like, just so not excited. It's just the way I feel.
Team-based objective shooters are kind of in a really weird spot right now. Back, in the day, there was, I think, only really Team Fortress 2. And then, Overwatch came on, like, honestly, too little too late, even after Team Fortress 2 died out, right? And now we look at where Overwatch is, and they're not doing so hot. They're doing, okay, I would imagine. But not as really as good as they could be. There's not even like a whole lot of competition. There's a lot of, quote unquote Overwatch clones. You look at Paladins, which has been thriving on Switch because of the absence of Overwatch, etc. But then you also see, okay, well, what has filled in the gap here? We see a whole lot of Battle Royale games. We see Fortnite and all of the Battle Royales that has spawned since, competing with Overwatch in this sort of games as service online shooter space, but also still not filling the exact genre that Overwatch is as an objective-based team shooter.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in a weird spot, and I think what the world needs is an Overwatch 2. I think we won't see Overwatch 2 exactly because Overwatch is a games as a service, similar to how Fortnite is. But I think we'll see just another objective team-based shooter expand on what Overwatch has done from a big-name publisher, and they will make a sort of successor to it one day. I would be ecstatic if that could just be Splatoon. Splatoon already does it so well and is fresh, and I think that's one of the big things that the team-based objective shooter genre needs. It's just something that's not. This is more of the same.
True that.
Well,
that's
my hot take.
Aside from that, I really have nothing else to say on Overwatch. Like, obviously, I would any other time of the. If it had launched any time sooner, I would have considered this a good get. Now I just kind of consider it too little too late. My interest has waned in the franchise, and I don't foresee myself picking this particular game up, despite, all the accolades that the game actually has. With that said, let's just keep the ball rolling. Luigi's Mansion 3, we got some new updates.
This is how they should have opened it. They opened with Overwatch instead of Luigi's Mansion. Well, what are you doing?
Well, start off. I guess you save your dessert, for later,
Yeah.
But yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3. They announced 3 new floors. So we have the Tomb Suites, the Dance Hall, and the Spectral Catch. All of these look really cool. The Tomb Suites is like an Egyptian pyramid theme. Very cool. The Dance Hall is what it sounds like. It's a disco with a fully 80s, 70s/80s style light up disco floor. And then the Spectral Catch is a pirate ship in the middle of the hotel. Yeah,
it's a pirate ship restaurant.
I do like, however, like the shark ghost that goes into the floor and then the floor gets
ship,
the mouth. Yeah. And then the ship gets like the sharp mouth of the shark. I was like, that's kind of neat. Like, that's gonna be a cool boss fight. So we saw that, and all that looks really good. Luigi's Mansion just looks better every time they show it. But aside from that, they also showed off a new party mode called Scream Park that allows for up to 8 players on one system, and then I think they also said 8 players online as well and local. Looks really fun. A lot of team-based objectives. Hey, get the coins or who can kill the most ghosts. All that looks fun. And I was talking to Mario After Party the other day after we saw the direct, and he said something that I have to kind of agree with. Why do the mini games in Luigi's Mansion look better than some of the mini games that were featured in Super Mario Party? And I was like, I kind of agree with that. I mean, obviously, like, the character selection in Super Mario Party way better instead of having to be like one of 4 Luigi palette swaps. But yeah, all this looks a lot of fun, and I really like the emphasis on multiplayer for the minigames. I think that's an awesome idea for Luigi's Mansion series as a whole, and it kind of reminds me of what's it called, Nintendo Land, with the Luigi's Mansion mini games that game had. That was a whole lot. That was actually kind of one of the best mini games in Nintendo Land for the Wii U.
It was great, but it was rigged. Ghost always won. I'm really excited to see these. The Tomb Suites is the one that piques my interest the most, as I think it's very similar to one of the many mansions in Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark Moon. There's sort of an Egypt-themed mansion. I thought that was one of the better mansions. It was also one of the more gimmicky mansions as well. I'm glad to see that. The dance hall looks like super cool and fun. I forget how many total floors we have currently confirmed and how many they said they'll have total. I'm not familiar. Do you happen to have that number?
They haven't given a number of how many they have, or they're gonna have, but I think we're up to like 9 now.
I think there's 10 to 20, which is like a big range, but it's one of the 2 that they said, 10 or 20, something like that. So there's a lot to look forward to in this game. Especially since, even though it is gimmicky, there's more. Each floor is obviously going to be shorter, I think, than a whole mansion in the first game or even maybe the second game. But it's looking like there's a lot of variety, and whether that's good or bad is whatever. But the fact that each one has their own, and maybe even multiple unique portrait ghosts is what excites me the most. Because that means just get a whole lot more portrait ghosts.
You know what I like? So I'm looking at the trailer currently, and on the dance hall, you have this group of b-boys that look straight up like the Jabberwockies, and they're just doing their little dance routine on the dance floor.
And Luigi's doing it too.
Exactly.
I love that. That made the whole trailer. That seeing Tomb Suites and that just Luigi dancing animation.
He's just sitting there snapping his fingers. I do want to say though that the animations in the game look like they've improved since even more. E3.
Yeah.
So the game is looking a lot better. It's starting to look as good as Super Mario Odyssey. If you look at the textures in Luigi's mustache, it's pretty detailed. It's almost looking as good as Mario's hair did in Super Mario Odyssey. At first I didn't think this game was gonna get the kind of love and attention that Mario Odyssey got, but there's a whole lot more going on in this game than in Mario Odyssey as far as modes and stuff. Mario Odyssey got all the extra stuff after the fact.
Yeah,
as DLC
whittled in extra costumes, and that's it.
Yeah. Now this game looks like it's gonna have a whole lot more content.
Yeah, I do also want to point out that I put out a tweet just before the Direct pretty much saying, all right, prediction time, Luigi's Mansion 3 is getting delayed till early 2020. Because specifically I thought they'd want to polish up, a lot of animations. I was thinking they might not have a lot of the bugs squashed yet, too, so a lot of the more major bugs. But I am proven wrong. I think we have the release date of Halloween night, October 31st. So I was wrong. I'm glad that I'm wrong. But I thought that, they wanted to give it that love, but they might have been behind in that polish. But I'm glad to see that it's all present. And so we already had, and I also want to talk about how we already had the Scare-Scraper multiplayer mode returning from Luigi's Mansion 2. Yes. And we now have Scream Park as well, which I believe both are 8 players, or only Scream Park is 8 players. I think both are, right?
I think they're both 8 players.
Yeah.
Because they showed off at least 5 players during E3. Because they had all the people who... the couch was completely full. But man, I'm excited. This game just looks better and better.
And I'm super glad to see that it supports 8 players, because that's going to mean a big party night with all the friends. It's not going to be just Smash Bros. And a couple indie games that support 8 players and Jackbox. We have a bit more 8-player variety games now. There's multiple modes here, and you were also mentioning about how the mini games here look better than they do in Mario Party. And I agree, but I also feel like they're treated much less like mini games and more like mini full multiplayer games.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So they're given different treatment, I feel like, for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but with that said, man, I want to keep this ball rolling because there's a whole lot to talk about
this direct, yeah.
And I know there are things that we are going to just straight up gloss over, but yeah, there's still a lot. So, we got a new, free to start game on the Switch. This looks like it would have been a perfect mobile game, by the way. Super Kirby Clash. It's a online multiplayer free to start game. And yeah, it's basically mission-based. It's basically like Kirby Boss Rush. Mm-hmm. You go to a stage, you fight a boss. Each person can pick a class of character. Unlike games like Overwatch, you can pick the same class as other players. The game is neat, but it lacks depth. Straight up. I've been playing it for the last 45 minutes before we went live. Mm-hmm. And while I find parts of it enjoyable, it's also kind of lame, but the graphics look nice because they're utilizing the same graphics engine as what was the last
Star Allies?
Star Allies, yeah. It's using the same graphic engine as Star Allies, so visually it's very appealing. It fits right up there with Kirby games. This is something that they would have put on the 3DS if the 3DS was still a viable platform.
Yeah.
I don't hate the game.
There were a lot of just sort of free, weird, gimmicky Kirby games on the 3DS. There was some spin-offs straight from Triple Deluxe and Robobot, as well as
Kirby,
they had
like Kirby the Fighters.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and then they also had other just entirely different spin-offs. There was just a 3D Kirby game that was
So for the 3DS, we had Kirby Battle Royale.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we had Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, Kirby's Blowout Blast, Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. So I assume that this is technically a sequel to Team Kirby Clash. I actually haven't played Team Kirby Clash.
It's the spin-off of Triple Deluxe, is what that is. They turned the spin-off fighting game in Triple Deluxe into a more expanded eShop game, is what that is.
I'm gonna look up a trailer for Team Kirby Clash Deluxe because this new game seems like it's
very similar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Clash in the title makes me think that this new game is like an upgraded version of that.
It kind of is, from my knowledge. It's that, but they've added and refined the boss mode, kind of. The thing that I think I would like the most out of this game...
it's totally the same game. Same lobby.
Mm-hmm.
Same bosses. It's the same game on the Switch. Oh, lame.
I think they've refined the class system and the bosses a bit. The thing that I think this game needs is, what's the word I'm looking for? A actual level, kind of thing too. Because you see it lacks depth because it's just boss rushes. I think is the issue. I think they added levels for people to go through and then a boss at the end. That would be more beneficial. Although I think they also might be pushing it on the free-to-play or free-to-start aspect. How are you going to monetize that as how are you going to make levels like that now without having that be properly monetized as a $60 straight-up purchase?
Okay, so I am on YouTube, and I'm looking at a video from Rasuli Plays. Shout-outs to him for having this up so that I could do this, quick comparison. It is identical as far as what I'm looking at. The lobby is the same, the stage selection looks the same. The only thing is that it's coming from a 3DS, so it has the visuals of a 3DS, whereas here we're on the Switch and it can look nice. So it's basically the same game utilizing the Kirby Star Allies engine. Lame. I'm a little bummed out now. I find the game even less inspired now that I know that it's almost the same game as on the 3DS. You know what though? It is a little bit of fun. I could see myself playing it whenever I'm too lazy to stand up and put a game. Because guys, I buy my games physically. I rarely buy my games digitally unless that's my only option. So sometimes I don't want to stand up and switch the cartridge. And when I get in those moves, I just play whatever's on the system, regardless of how bad it is or how many times I've played it. I've beaten Sonic Mania 14 times.
I have started to feel the same way. Previously, I've never really had the issue of I don't want to take it out of the cartridge, but now I get in those moods, and It hurts me. I always love getting physical, but I've switched certain games to going digital just because I know I'm gonna be playing this one a lot. It's gonna be in and out constantly. I don't want to deal with that. So I've bit the bullet and I've gone digital for my bigger titles. But I think we want to move on now to Trials of Mana, right?
Yeah, Trials of Mana. So the game looks really good.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
My only real issue is Collection of Mana or Trials of Mana HD. Do you go for a game that has more games, or do you just go all out and get this like super pretty, nice edition? They did give us a release date, by the way. April 24th of 2020. So still a ways away. So maybe I'll feel differently by this time next year, because I'm kind of leaning towards the Mana collection.
I feel like the only real incentive to get the HD remake is just to get sort of like an entirely new game with the same story. Because it doesn't play the same at all. It's got more open world, and it's got free action combat.
Yeah, there's a lot more roaming. You can jump in combat, and there's a whole lot more going on. But
it follows the same story, same characters, and the world, even though it looks different, it's still the same world. And so it's for those people that want to just re-experience it different, or want to experience it for the first time but hate retro games.
So I like the Mana series, but Square has always petitioned the Mana series as Final Fantasy Light. And that's not a bad thing. But it also doesn't scratch a lot of my RPG itches. I think they're great games. It's just they don't always appeal to me. Secret of Mana, the original game, is damn good. And if you can play that game in any platform, I recommend you do it. But the sequels feel less inspired. They don't feel as intuitive. They don't feel as... The stories aren't as good as the original game. And that's fine. Like, that's what happens when you sequelize games. Now, granted, this game looks absolutely gorgeous. But again, it's not really something... If I want to play Trials of Mana, like I said, I might be leaning towards more the retro version than this newer, shinier paint of coat that they put on this game.
Moving on though, we have Return of Obra Dinn, which, and there's also the first game that got, I believe, shadow dropped the same days of the direct, right?
No, I think you're confusing that with Deadly Premonition.
Maybe.
Return of
Obra Dinn. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm really excited about Return of Obra Dinn because I am fascinated by the art style, plus I love a good mystery game. But when they initially showed it and you saw the text for it, I was like, why does it look like a Game Boy game? And then they show the graphics off. I was like, never mind, it looks like a game that would have popped up on the 3DS. But the story is cool, the mechanics are cool, like being able to rewind time to see like every person's like final moment of life right before they died. I was like, that is a cool concept. And you have to solve the mystery of like what happened on this pirate ship. And I'm like, that sounds really awesome. And visually, because of like that, it's got like this even though you can tell it's 3D, but it has like this pixel art style where like they did like, you could just see where they put a bunch of little dots to make the art, and that reminds me of like a comic book or how they did Into the Spider-Verse, that's really appealing to me, and I like that visually.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you were starting that statement, I was gonna say it's comic booky like, and then you said pixels. I'm like, wait, pixels? Oh no, he's getting to the comic book stuff. Yeah, I really like
the Venn dots. I think that's what they're called.
I don't.
Venn day dots.
But it looks cool. I think the big
Venn day dots. They're called Venn day dots.
The fact you can rewind the time to view what happened, that's definitely the big stellar to me more than anything.
Yeah, and didn't show off a whole lot of the gameplay. I wish they would have showed more. I wish they would have dedicated a little bit more time to this game because they kind of treated it like a fly-by-night game. But again, this is one of those games that really will appeal to someone like me. And if it's a short game, all the better. because just like a quick game that I can get into and beat, kind of like how Cadence of Hyrule was. Cadence of Hyrule. Mm-hmm. It's a short experience, but the Switch is definitely a system that really lends itself to those kind of shorter gameplay experiences. So I saw that game and I was instantly in love with what I saw, because I was like, that looks like something I would immediately play, something I would immediately enjoy, and something that I'll probably think about once I've beaten it, and think, there aren't a whole lot of games that make me do that, but the games that do, those games usually stick with me, and they have like a really special place in my mind. I feel that way about Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
I was going to say, we're going to be talking about one of those games later, right?
Yes, exactly. 1. But moving on, we finally got an announcement for this game. We haven't seen it since E3 2018. Little Town Hero, formerly known as Town. This is the Game Freak developed, the new game by Game Freak, and it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. In some ways, I think it looks better than Pokemon Sword and Shield.
In most ways, it does. Yeah,
I would say, you know what? I would have said that until they showed the Pokemon trailer in this direct, where I started to notice where all the animation work was going for the new Pokemon game, and all the graphics were going. I was like, okay, I see it now. But yeah, this game looks gorgeous. The gameplay looks really intriguing, and I like the fact that, like, you, in the midst of battle, you can go find additional characters to join you in battle by going to their location. And you're essentially drawing the beast to their location, and then you're engaging in battle with the beast with an additional character on your side. And that's really cool. And I like the whole, you don't fight using like brawn, you have to fight using ideas. And how does this work? How do you use it? Well, that depends on your style of gameplay. I was like, that sounds dope. A little bit more complex than Pokemon, but it's also not like so mind-blowingly complex that I don't think, a new or a younger gamer will have trouble like getting into the gameplay. Of course, the art direction that they've picked for this game is gorgeous. It is Game Freak, but it also doesn't scream Pokemon, Mm-hmm. Which I think Game Freak actually has done a fairly good job of that with games like Harmono Knight and the Pocket Jockey,
Pocket Card Jockey, yeah.
Yeah,
and then Giga Wrecker as well.
And what is that one? The Kick-Ass Elephant game?
Yeah, I'm about to say whatever the elephant is, the badass elephant.
Yeah, whatever. It's either Kick-Ass or badass, but yeah, like Game Freak has, they've gotten like really diverse with their art, and I guess maybe that's because like maybe Ken Sugimori isn't like the head of Game Freak anymore. His like art isn't like so prominent within Game Freak anymore. I mean, the Pokemon franchise has done a pretty good job of like maintaining his art style, but like Game Freak as a company has moved away from that, and they're doing a whole lot more visually. And I think like Little Town Hero looks great. I am a little upset that the name changed for the game. I think Town was the perfect name. They probably had copyright issues just copywriting the name Town.
I like Little Town Hero a lot, and I also like the sort of minimalist of the name Town. So I'm very torn. I don't know which one I like better, honestly. They're both really good names.
Yeah, it was. I'm having like an Octopath Traveler thing where it's like, you can't change the name. Like, I've become obsessed with that title. You have to leave it. Like how it was a working title, and then there's like, screw it, people don't want us to change it, leave it.
I feel like Octopath Traveler just kind of like, how do you even go from that? That's one of those titles. Like, what? How do you change that title? You can see Town just getting words added to it, which is exactly what they did. They added the word little, and they added the word hero, Little Town Hero. But like Octopath Traveler, that's just such a bizarre Octopath. What is an Octopath?
Yeah.
They wrote themselves in the corner with that one. I think the game looks great, but it also looks different from what I kind of expected it, now that we do know more about it. And I'm not sure yet, to put it lightly.
Well, we do now know that the game will be a somewhat pick up and play type game. It's not like a full on, like, hardcore Pokemon 60-hour experience. Probably around like the 20 to 30 hour mark for this game. But that doesn't hurt either. Like,
No.
I think Game Freak, if they're gonna spin themselves off from the Pokemon franchise, that they have to work, their way up to like their next Pokemon style like experience. Harmono Knight was a fairly short game too, but it didn't lack any of the charm of a Pokemon game. That game is actually relatively hard if you struggle with like rhythm-based games.
Oh yeah, it's stupid. Like once you get like past the ice level, it's just ice world rather. It gets like up there in difficulty. Yeah.
Yeah, but so I'm watching the trailer again. Graphically, this game, it's not the most impressive game you're going to see on the Switch, but the art direction is just so great. And the key art for the game just absolutely works for me. Like, I totally want to print that out, put it on my wall, have it behind me. It just looks great. Character models look pretty good. The textures in the game, they're Game Freak quality textures. Let's not get it twisted. Don't expect like a super hardcore, like hyper textualized game. There are some weird.
Game Freak do textures? Why can't they do this?
Game Freak can't do compression and they can't do textures extraordinarily well. But
yeah,
I will say, as far as textures, I will give them a little bit more credit. I am seeing a lot of improvement from what we see in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah, the textures could look like their best textures ever.
Yeah. Now, how big this game will actually be, that's going to be what scares me. Is like, how big is this download going to be? Because Game Freak and Game Freak and compression don't really go hand in hand. We all know if it weren't for Satoru Iwata, Pokemon Gold and Silver
wouldn't even have Kanto.
Yeah.
It would have like half Kanto or something.
Yeah, they'd have like, they couldn't even get the Elite Four. They were struggling to implement the Elite Four into the game, and Iwata came on and handled that for them. So
but then you think after 20 years they get better at it, and it's only gotten worse.
So I was watching a video, and they were talking about Game Freak and their compression. So in Pokemon Sun and Moon, every time Lily appears in the game, that is a new character model for Lily.
Why? Why do they think that's the solution?
Instead of having like one base model that can just
go where you need it to go.
Exactly. Yeah, having one character model like every other game. No, they built a Lily character model. Yeah,
it's over 100 different Lily character models.
And people wondered why the game chugged and why 3D was removed from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Those are the reasons. Because Game Freak and compression.
But that's like one of the like. Why would you think that is the solution? That's not. Who thinks that's the proper way to do this?
Could you imagine the guy who data mined the game and saw that? And think what their initial thought process was like,
he aged like 30 years, just with all that stress, probably.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm still excited about Little Town Hero. I'm absolutely worried about how big this download will be.
Well, is it not seeing a physical release? I thought this is their big, this one's getting a physical release finally game.
Probably, but
I'm gonna get this one physically, personally.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it physically. I might just get it like digitally and just suck it up, just because. As excited as I am about the game, I'm not sure if it's a big enough release for me to necessarily go out, get up and buy it.
After getting Pokemon Sword and Shield, I will not have any free storage space on my Switch for like any game. I'm prepared to delete every single game I own to make room for those two games.
I already have to buy a larger memory card because I didn't think that I would have as many games as I have for the Switch. I didn't think I'd have as many like save files and whatnot. So 32 gigs was just not big enough, and I see that now, but it's too little too late. Anyhow, we did get a release date for Little Town Hero, which really shocked me. October 16th of 2019. They have been so quiet on this game. Like, we haven't seen this game since E3 of 2018. I honestly didn't think we were this close to the release of the game, and I honestly didn't think that the game would be anywhere near finished. And by this point, they're probably just doing like minor touches to the game. The game's probably actually in production right now, and anything they do will be done through a day one patch.
But like the thing that I don't like about that is that you're right, it's probably almost done. Why do I still feel like I know very little about it? I don't
That's
know
also true.
enough to make a smart buying decision yet.
I
I
almost
don't
wonder
think,
if that's Nintendo saying you have a Pokemon game coming out the month after, and this is a brand new IP. We don't know what to expect from this IP, so we're not gonna put 100% of the machine behind this game. We're gonna throw all that like marketing and influence that we have towards promoting Pokemon. And I
that
think
still
that
sounds counterintuitive to me. Why make a game to not promote it? Just promote something else. Like, promote everything you have because that's important.
because Nintendo, dude, we have like 40 games coming out for the rest of this month.
I know, but
And
like,
no game in December. So
like, I get it, but I didn't want to get it because it seems like just so counterintuitive. Game Freak is one of your like best studios, as much as it kind of pains me to say that. You should support whatever project they make more. You know,
again, I'm just gonna chalk this up to like new
the
IP,
machine.
new IP,
Oh,
not done specifically by Nintendo in house. Second party developer that their track record with like their other games is good, but it's not like
that's
mind blowing.
fair. Okay.
Like, yeah, I mean, if you look at it,
Okay.
Harmono Knight's a great game. Pocket Card Jockey is a fun game, but none of these games are like extraordinarily mind blowing. Like, they're not like
That's fair.
you're not rushing to the store to buy these games. You are,
But
however,
this was
rushing
the
to the store
one
for
that could have
fun.
been.
Yeah, you know what? What happens though? If Town is a smashing success, Nintendo will press Game Freak for a sequel. They'll be like, "This is your new kick-ass franchise. It's up there with Pokemon.
All
We
right.
need a sequel. We need it to be longer. We need more.
All right.
We need additional towns, and we need it in like 2 years."
All right.
Also, we're gonna try to get this thing in anime, like we did for Pokemon. So we're gonna go all out with this game. So you guys got to get on your shit.
It feels very level 5 also, which
Yeah,
all
yeah.
level 5 games get
Reminds
animes.
me of like Yokai Watch, Layton. What's the other big one?
Inzuma, Fantasy Life, Ni no
Fantasy Life.
Kuni,
Yeah, Nino Kuni. Well, no, I mean not so much
World.
Nino.
Snack World got a anime as well.
I mean visually, I do see a lot of like the Yokai Watch like sensibilities as far as like the art direction is concerned. I think we did neglect to mention that the music is going to be scored by the dude who scored
Undertale.
Undertale.
Fox. That's great for him, and he does video game music better than like anyone else. So that's great.
I'm wondering if this is the
Like-
first time that Game Freak has utilized composers outside of Japan.
Yeah. I think it is. It's definitely the first time Smash Bros has, right? So.
Yes.
Well, no,
Yeah,
Banjo was.
Well, yeah, with Grant Kirkhope.
Yeah.
Well, Banjo just got added to the game, so.
Yeah. So did Sans.
Yeah. So yeah, Toby Fox, the composer for Undertale. Like, I haven't played Undertale, but it is inescapable to. You can't like really listen to video game music and not have been exposed to like Undertale or Undertale remixes. So there's a whole lot of like good music within that game. Sometimes I want to play the game just based on what I've heard from the soundtrack.
He does video game music better than like anyone's ever done it. He
So, yeah,
knows.
There's a whole lot to look forward to when it comes to Little Town Hero. You've got like the gameplay sensibilities of a Game Freak. You've got really good art direction. Some of Game Freak's best like graphics and texture work. Potentially a great soundtrack. This is like a heavy hitter game for Game Freak. Now, I agree with you. There does need to be more promotion around it, but I don't think Nintendo wants this game to come out when it's coming out because it's too close to Pokemon.
That's fair.
It just really is. It's legit 30 days that separate this game from Pokemon Sword and Shield.
You're right.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into some Smash stuff. We got a release date for Banjo and Kazooie, and that was yesterday, which is cool. After the Direct, they actually had another live stream in air quotes because that was pre-recorded.
Like 2 days in advance, yeah.
Yeah. But they call it a live stream for some reason. It's definitely
that's
not live.
the format that they're going for. It looks more like a live stream than it would normally. I don't know.
That's true. they did some promoting for Microsoft in that
Mm-hmm.
live stream. By the way, that was weird. Yeah,
Please
you can
play this
the,
game on Xbox.
like, how about Xbox just give us back our shit? How about that? Give me my shit back. Anyhow, yeah. So Banjo's added to the game. Pretty cool moveset. Like seeing him in combat, he doesn't look as OP as some of the other like DLC fighters. He does have some cool like advantages. I do like watching Banjo slam Kazooie around like a whip / sword.
A sword.
It's just hilarious to me. But that's not the big announcement. The big announcement was we got our next DLC character announcement, and probably the best reveal trailer since Mega Man. We've got the Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury. Now, it had been rumored that an SNK character was going to be appearing in Smash. I was in the camp that was like, makes total sense. Smash is really doing a whole lot to appeal to the traditional FGC. An SNK character would fit perfectly. Now, granted, I thought they would have picked a game like Samurai Showdown. I wasn't expecting. Yeah, because they have a new Samurai Showdown game out now, but they went for Fatal Fury. Now, granted, I am happier that they went with Fatal Fury because that franchise does not get enough love, and then it just became about who's gonna get the invitation, and it being Terry is absolutely perfect. So I am super excited. They also showed off some gameplay for Terry, like some initial stuff. So it means the character is actually probably fairly far along in development. It's pretty much looks like balancing is what's going to keep the character at bay for a while. But they did say he'll be coming in November, around that time. So, yeah. So this is the first time in the DLC, with the DLC Fighters Pack, they announced like a rough release window for the character, which
they
I think
said
is
like
actually
summer and fall, but this is an actual month.
Exactly.
That is great. I know what month he's coming out, and that makes me feel at peace.
Exactly. So no more wondering, no more speculating. We know around November he'll be showing up, and he looks cool, man. And again, that reveal trailer gave me goosebumps. Going with the whole 16-bit, scrolling through like the majority of the cast of Fatal Fury 1, like all that awesome. I love all of that. Worked for me in every way. Plus, I'm just a sucker for like arcade perfect, like 16-bit graphics. So best way to do a reveal trailer. Although I didn't like the actual way the trailer started, where they like have the timeline for the systems and they scroll up to the Super NES, but then they go a little bit further up to the Game & Watch, but then they go back down to the Super NES, and then they just scroll off to the side so that you can see the Neo Geo. I was like, holy shit, there it is. We are definitely getting our SNK character. If the trailer had just started from like the 16-bit invitation, I would have liked that a whole lot better. But it is what it is. Can't change it. It's out. It's out there. But yeah, all that and Banjo-Kazooie. No, I'm wrong, because they announced that they would be extending the fighter pass. So more characters. So I'm gonna call it right now. We're getting a Mortal Kombat character. We are getting a Mortal Kombat character because we now have representation from Capcom, SNK, Sega, Square. Am I missing one? Konami. We got to get another Realms game. And we want to appeal to the FGC a little bit more. So, get over here! Expect that. I promise you. Mortal Kombat character, it's going to be Scorpion. Or Sub-Zero. Right. It's either going to be Scorpion or Sub-Zero, or it's going to be both, with one of them being an Echo Fighter.
Okay.
And I just gave a whole bunch of people a lot of wet dreams.
But yeah, I think this opens up a whole lot more possibilities. I think one thing that has to happen at this point is Geno. I think Geno has to be a guarantee at this point, now that we have a DLC on the way.
But you can play as Geno. You just have to wear your amiibo costume.
No, he's not a Mii costume anymore. They took him out. Yeah, he's not a Mii costume. And that's like, I would have settled for the Mii costume in Smash Ultimate, but he's not even there in the Mii costume. But like, the whole reason I think Geno is guaranteed at this point is not even the whole, he's not a Mii costume, so he's not deconfirmed. I think Soccer just wants to appease the Geno fans. After Banjo fans have gotten their glory with Banjo now in the game as of yesterday, the only remaining vocal fan base that wants a specific character and has wanted them for a long time is Geno, with the exception maybe being Waluigi. But I don't care.
Now that Square Enix and Nintendo played nice, specifically now that we have like every Final Fantasy game that was excluded for like the last 20 years. Playing Final Fantasy 8 right now. Anyhow, yeah, it's highly likely that we could actually see Geno, like, because we got to keep in mind that Geno is actually a co-owned character. He's not wholly owned by Nintendo, and he's not wholly owned by Square, and because of their drama and the beef that they had for like 15 years, that was keeping Geno and like a whole lot of ports of Super Mario RPG from happening. We live in a world now where Square and Nintendo lay in the same bed again. Making sweet love.
But I think we're going to get Geno just because Sakurai's going to want to appease the fans with Geno finally. Because I think the first, I think a lot of Smash Ultimate was just appeasing the fans. All right, let's get Ridley in there. Let's get K. Rool in there. Now we got Banjo. So it was a lot of appeasing the fans' biggest, longest term requests, I feel like. And that's the only one left besides Waluigi, which I think I'm not wrong for saying that Waluigi fans can wait until Waluigi becomes more relevant before he gets in Smash.
People don't really want Waluigi.
He's a meme. But also, we got Sans now.
Oh yeah, as a Mii fighter costume.
Yeah.
So Undertale getting like a lot of like low-key love in this direct.
Yeah, I know.
Like, hey, Toby Fox is composing Little Town Hero, and here's your Mii fighter costume.
And like he beat Sakurai in Smash. Sakurai's like, he might have beaten me. He might be better than me at Smash, But yeah, good for Toby Fox. He has an independent developer. He made a great first game as making Deltarune in many episodes, but now it's like getting put on for all these projects, and that's great. I'm happy for him.
Agreed. All right, but let's move on because I kind of want to just gloss over these next few titles. I just want to briefly mention what else was coming. So, Link's Awakening, we know that's coming. We did see what the amiibo support is for the game. I was wondering what it was actually going to be, but now you can utilize the amiibo to save the stages that you build so other people can play them on their Nintendo Switch systems. Pretty cool compatibility, but almost doesn't need to exist. I'm kind of just in it because the amiibo is damn adorable.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
I think it would have been better just to give us online level sharing.
I would have appreciated it more if they did what they did with Twilight Princess, where the amiibos actually either unlock the
benefits or negatives.
The dungeon mode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then of course the benefits and the negatives that the Ganondorf adding double damage and the Link giving you, the Zelda amiibo giving you extra hearts. And I don't remember what the Link amiibo actually did for you in that game.
I think he refilled your arrows.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, I think the amiibo support for that Zelda game was probably the best it's ever been. Even Breath of the Wild's amiibo support is a little, with the exception of getting Epona. Oh yeah, Wolf Link and Epona. But if you use the Smash Link, you get Epona. So you can get a perfect horse pretty much out the gate if you do that. It's totally cheating, guys. Don't do that until you've beaten the game. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do that. I used that amiibo immediately, and I used the Wolf Link amiibo constantly. He's like a little hunter.
Yeah, I really wish I did have him earlier on in my first playthrough, because when I first got my Switch and my copy of Breath of the Wild, all my amiibos were off in a different state, so I couldn't use any of them until I already pretty much beaten the first playthrough of it.
Yo, I didn't even open that amiibo until Breath of the Wild came out, because it came with that bundle pack for Twilight
Princess. I opened that right away so I could farm as many hearts as I possibly could on that thing, get that thing maxed out.
What was the max? 16?
I don't know, but I have it.
It was weird because when I used it, it had 16 hearts in Breath of the Wild. I was like, why does it have way more hearts than my actual Link? But then after they did a patch 4 months after the game came out, he only had 5 hearts. I was like, aw. I guess they didn't fix. I guess they fixed that. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Link's Awakening, we got the amiibo support. We saw a little bit more. We finally saw what we got confirmation that Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2 does appear in this game. I was wondering if he would make the cut because Wart is like such a forgotten Mario villain. So yeah, we saw that. We also got more Dragon Quest 11. I am so not excited about Dragon Quest 11. Like, I know it's going to be a great game. I don't want it. I don't know why.
I want it. All I've played for the past month is just Dragon Quest, everything.
Also, this game has the like second longest title that we're gonna discuss. Like, Dragon Quest XI's title is ridiculous. The only game that I think that has a title as long is the next one. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore. Jesus Christ, these RPG titles. I am not surprised this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch. I figured that this game would have come out a long time ago. I'm surprised it actually took this long to come out on the Nintendo Switch.
I think it should have come sooner as well. I was also very surprised that it took so long. But I think a lot of people, this is like the one Wii U port that we got in this Direct. There were a couple other ports, but not a Wii U port specifically. And I think this is the one no one really expected. I think the one Wii U port everyone was thinking would be Pikmin 3. Except for me. I was the one person that I don't want a Pikmin 3 port. I want Pikmin Trilogy. Because it's been so long since we've been able to play 1 and 2. Give us Trilogy. Come on.
What about Pikmin 4 that they insist is complete but hasn't actually been released yet? What's going on with Pikmin 4? Anyhow, Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
It does not exist.
So Sharp FE, I'm totally not surprised that it's coming. Like, I've been waiting for it to get an announcement. My real concern is that it's coming out so close to a traditional Fire Emblem game. Like, I'm absolutely certain this does not cannibalize like the sales of Fire Emblem, but I also feel like it confuses the marketing right now. Like, this game, when it came out on the Wii U, it came out at a perfect time. There was not like really a Fire Emblem game on the horizon. And, you know, as far as consoles are concerned, I mean, they were getting them on the 3DS, but now we have like a hardcore traditional Fire Emblem game that seems to be doing extraordinarily well. So I'm almost wondering why this port needs to be coming out now. Why make this announcement now?
Well, let's actually take a look at it from the opposite side of the spectrum. Where is that Shin Megami Tensei game that they announced? Like, they announced 5, like, back when the Switch was first announced, right?
Yeah, during
seen,
that
one trailer since.
During that, like, the showcase presentation.
And then since then, we've seen it, one cinematic trailer since, and then it's just been quiet still. And so, does this mean that they're just buying time for the next Shin Megami Tensei game? Or are they, building this up? Does this mean we can expect it soon? Or what's up with the Shin Megami Tensei side of things then?
Straight up, this is just them saying we spent a lot of money making this game in the first
place. That's fair.
And we didn't make any of the money we thought we would off its initial release because the Wii U was such an unmitigated failure. As far as Nintendo consoles are concerned, they're like, let's see if now is the right time to release this game.
Okay.
This game coming out year 1, I probably would have bought it. Just because year 1, I was buying like every single game coming out for the Nintendo Switch and making a point to beat it before the next major release came out. I feel like they dropped the ball on the timing of this release. This is an Overwatch situation. Supposedly this is a really good game. It's just coming out at a time where I don't need it.
So I was losing hope on this coming to the Switch because, like you said, we expected it to come sooner. It just didn't, and so I was like, okay, maybe it's not coming. So I picked it up on Wii U for like less than $5, and I'm going through it. But I'm also like, now I get to unplug the Wii U, but also get to start over. So. And I have to pay $60 for it. It's definitely not a day one for me because of that specific. If they didn't spend $5 on the Wii U for one, I would have picked it up. But it's a wait and see now for me.
Well, I guess it really depends on what new gets added to the game. They did say that it's obviously the Encore Edition, which may as well just actually be the definitive edition with more content. And they did announce a new song.
Yeah.
Like as in one. I was like, I hope that's not the extent of what you're doing with this game. I think it's now 4 years old. You can't add a single song and expect that to like bring the hype.
But also, what would they really add to a game that's 4 years old that they just want to put out to make more money at this point? Why spend, so many resources to make like a whole new dungeon when you can just add a song and just do the same thing?
All right, moving on. Let's get away from those. Yeah, so just a quick glance over those games. Like, they're not bad games. Obviously, I'm really excited about Link's Awakening, but Dragon Quest XI and Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, I have less hype about. We know a whole lot about both of those games, so we don't need a whole lot of exposition. So next up, Deadly Premonition 2. This game looks great. Gives me Resident Evil vibes. I like again, we're another mystery-based game. Lots of horror, creepy music. Like a oddly scary, like photorealistic art style. The two timelines, gameplay, all that, great. Then I started looking this game up, and I'm like, we didn't get the original game, so you're really going hard on announcing a sequel. And then I'm like, hey, we're also today. Here's the original game, Deadly Premonitions Origins, as it's called for the Nintendo Switch. I'm a little surprised about the price point of that game at $40, considering it's kind of old.
I mean, that's just the standard for old games being ported these days. Is $40. Take it or leave it, I feel like. So.
Yeah, but Final Fantasy VIII Remastered, $20. Like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, significantly older, but no, I think Final Fantasy VII was $17.99, like $2 cheaper, whatever. Same applies for Final Fantasy VIII. Either way, I mean, the game does look good. I am intrigued. I don't know if I'm intrigued enough to start from the first game. Mm-hmm. I think I might dive in from the second game, and if the second game is good, then I may go back and pick up the original title.
All right.
Next up, we had an announcement from Bethesda. It is 20 years since the release of Doom 64. This game does not need to exist on the Nintendo Switch. Doom 64 is not a bad game. It's just that there are newer Doom games out that look fantastic on the Switch. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Doom 64 was a fun game. Like, I do remember playing this game on the N64 when it came out. I was surprised that they were able to get it to work at all. Game plays well. Did the game age well, though? That's my question. Did the game age well? Or is this going to be like another GoldenEye situation where, like, hey, we remade GoldenEye. Wow, this game is not as good as I remembered it being.
You say that this doesn't need to be here because we have better looking Doom games. This is the best that Doom 64 has ever looked. Actually, which still doesn't say much, but for Doom 64, that's a good frame rate.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crisp textures that are old textures.
If the game is reasonably priced, I could see like $15. I'd probably throw down for $15. Any more than that, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Also, I don't need a physical release for this game, Bethesda. Just go straight up all digital if you're going to do it. What did they say this was coming out? November?
A lot of release dates glazed over my head.
There's a big direct. Mm-hmm. Doom 64 Switch. November 22nd. So yeah, 22 years later, we're getting a port for Doom on a Nintendo console. Doom 64. I hope this doesn't come with the same issues that the Wolfenstein game came with, where you needed to log into your Bethesda account and forcing newer players to create a Bethesda account. I hope they learned their lesson. We'll find out. Anyhow, after that, they announced Rogue Company. This game looks cool.
It's from Hydra Studios.
I don't know. I can't remember what other games they've made, but this game looks fun. Again, it looks like an objective-based team game, but I do happen to like the weapon variety that this game has. You have your melee weapons, you have your guns, you have like your explosives. All that looks cool. This is a 2020 game.
Mm-hmm.
Looks fun. It looks like a lot of fun. I could actually see myself getting into it. It almost looks a little bit like a free-to-play style game, but I don't think it is.
So you said you don't know what High-Res Studios makes. They make a whole lot of free-to-play, team-based shooters. They make Paladins, they make Smite, they make Realm Royale. So they make a lot of those exact genres in free-to-play, team-based objective shooters.
So cool. So, pretty decently calibered studio to be making a game of this genre. Looks fun. Oh, 6 hours. This game will be an Epic Game Store exclusive on PC. Get ready for the Yang Ya video for that one. If you guys don't know who Yang Ya is, I highly suggest you look him up on YouTube.
But, what was I going to say? I like the amount of customization that they talked about in this game, where your heroes are essentially, like, fully customizable. Whereas, like, with Overwatch, you get, like, a couple of Tracer costumes, you get a couple Orisa costumes, but then, like, it seems like there's just, like, headgear pieces and like full customization of that, which is cool.
Like I said, I think the game's going to be a lot of fun. Now that I know that it's going to 90% likely be the free-to-play model, I don't really have to worry about like dropping loads of cash on it. If I do play it, I'll probably play it like I play Fortnite. I have not spent a dime in Fortnite, and I enjoy that game pretty highly. So yeah, Rogue Company. All right. Next up, the game that we're probably going to have to deep dive the most in for this Nintendo Direct, and that is Pokemon Sword and Shield. We got a new trailer. Man, I'm not going to lie, as good as I thought this trailer was, the level of disappointment I felt when it ended. We have yet to see evolutions for the starters, and I'm starting to get kind of frustrated with that.
So I want to start with that too. So I made a tweet, similar to my Luigi's Mansion tweet, saying that, hey, we're going to see the new starters, middle evolutions, on the Direct. Because I make these predictions, about once a episode, and I wanted to make this one before the Direct. So that would be what would have been my prediction had the Direct not happened before the episode. I don't know. But I would have said that we'd have seen the starter middle evolutions. I make these predictions. They're not, the most insane predictions out there, but they're very safe. But I want to see how much I know Game Freak. And I was like, wow, I don't know Game Freak at all. I would have expected them to tease these by now. And they didn't. So I was very thrown back.
Yeah, it's highly unusual that we've not seen these evolutions yet. It makes me worry about the caliber of the evolutions visually. I don't know if they're going to look great. I already have issues with the grass monkey not looking so good.
I think they're all going to look great. I think the one character designs they prioritize more than anything is always the starters. The starters have to look great, I think, is what the rule is. Every other Pokemon can look like shit. The starters have to look great.
I think Ken Sugimura should be tasked with designing every starter Pokemon. Just get that dude back. And let's just have him do all the starter Pokemon going for until he's gone. Retired, not dead, people. All right, so they did announce... Yeah, you know what? Knowing Japan, he will most likely die before he retires. That's just the work culture behind there. Anyhow, they did announce new features. Let's go ahead and start with the customizations.
It's back.
It's back, and it got a severe overhaul. So, like, it's not just, hey, here's a shirt, here's some pants, here's some shoes, here's a book bag. You can customize your hair again. They said they've added more hairstyles. I want my character to have a proper fade. Come on, Game Freak. Give me a proper Caesar. Not that stupid Caesar you did in Pokemon
X and Y.
X and Y with the little poof at the top. That's not a Caesar.
That. No.
Like, no, what Dennis has right here, that's a Caesar. Do it right. Anyhow. I'm sorry. There's a little tangent. Female characters, I'm assuming only female characters will have makeup options. They only showed it on a female. Cool, I guess, if you're a female character. I'm pretty sure. You know what? It's 2019. Dudes can wear makeup, too.
I would imagine they have options for that, just because the eye color, I think, is a part of the makeup. So if you want to change your male's eye color, you'd have to get makeup options for that. So I think they're going to add some for males as well.
I do like a lot of the new styles of clothing they've added to the game. You got motorcycle jackets now. You've got like your swimmers outfits. Whole lot more customization than we've ever seen. And that I actually really appreciate. It's like I always loved it when you could make your Pokemon trainer reflect you. Any video game, if I'm being honest. That's why I kind of loved the Miis so much when they were introduced in the Wii. Always liked it when you could create a character that represents you as best as possible within the game's framework.
I'm still just really waiting on them to allow me to dress up more Pokemon. In Let's Go Pikachu Eevee, you could dress up your Pikachu and Eevee, but when they introduced character customization in X and Y, I was like, this needs to be on my Pokemon too. I need to have my Greninja in a little fedora, like, please. So,
all right.
I want that. I want ball capsules to return too from Gen 4.
So here's the official description for customizations. As you travel, you'll come across boutiques and hair salons. By visiting them, you can buy new clothes for yourself or change your hairstyle to freshen things up. There are plenty of different clothing items, hairstyles, and even makeup options. So try out different combinations and show the entire Galar region your favorite look. Going further, find the clothes you want at boutiques. Boutiques always have a wide selection of items. They'll be your go-to spots for trying on and buying new clothes. Boutiques can have outerwear, tops, gloves, you name it. You can mix and match styles in any way you want. Boutiques in different towns and cities have different items for sale, so keep your eyes open for that perfect outfit while you travel. And then we have the haircut option. Okay. I'm actually seeing the haircut options on the webpage. Okay, so head to the hair salon and get a haircut and a new look. Salons let you choose your haircut, hair color, style your eyebrows, or even swap out your color contacts. Oh, they're contacts, not traditional eye colors. Spice up your adventure by changing your look to match your favorite outfit or the uniform you wear during your gym challenge. So, yeah, if you look at the hair options for skin, okay, let's actually start where I'm looking. Right now we have skin tones. You have pale pink, orange, pink, red, maroon, green, and blue. I'm assuming those are your makeup options. For female hairstyles, you have short bob, medium curls, romantic tuck, side swept waves, pixie cut, high pigtails, ponytail, braided pigtails, long and straight, and braids. And for your male haircut, you have short style, Caesar cut, medium and wavy, braids, side part, undercut, bowl cut, and long hair. Who is the bloody hell is gonna do the bowl cut?
Honestly, if you get the right outfit to go with the bowl cut, I have the bowl cut in Splatoon right now, and I actually don't mind it.
So, again, females ended up with more hairstyles.
Yeah.
I think it's literally 2 more this time around. Yeah, it's actually 2 more. You have eyebrow options as well. You have normal eyebrows, thick eyebrows, and thin eyebrows. So males have a slightly less customizable palette because they do not get the makeup options as I'm seeing here.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's that. Sorry, guys. Even in 2019, Game Freak won't give you what you want. No makeup for you. Play with your Pokemon in Pokemon Camp. Pokemon Camp was the next new feature that they announced. I love the key art for this, by the way. Key art is fantastic. Become friendly with lots of Pokemon. You can enjoy a moment of relaxation and fun with Pokemon in your party through Pokemon Camp. Watch your Pokemon closely as they have fun camping, and as they play together, you might discover a new side to them that you don't normally get to see. Just give a call to any Pokemon that's far away, and it'll happily come to you. So, let's talk about this for a minute, because initially, Game Freak said one of the reasons that the game doesn't include all the Pokemon that we've ever made is because they wanted to introduce better animations to the game. Now, people saw the battle animations and instantly took that as, you didn't do jack shit. You're wrong. This is where all the Pokemon animations come to play. There is a whole lot of going on here for however many Pokemon this game is going to include. This is some of the best animation work we've ever seen in the series, and it looks really good. It looks better with the newer Pokemon than it does with some of the older Pokemon, but I did notice that the movements and animations for the older Pokemon were improved significantly from what we've seen in previous games. Now, people, I know that's not what you want to hear. You don't want me to justify the Dexit. You don't want me to justify this. But it is what it is. You have to accept it at this point. This is where your animations come in. We're starting to see a lot of the other modes in the game utilizing the animations, not the battle system. Mm-hmm. Now, if you only came for the battle system, well, they have said that this will probably be the most competitive Pokemon game you have ever seen. So they're going to make improvements to the battles, and they're going to use the more casual experience of Pokemon to include those higher res animations. That's the takeaway I'm seeing with the addition of Camp Pokemon.
So I want to pop in on this as well. This seems to be the replacement for Pokemon A-Me.
Yes.
It looks like it is welcome. I like this a lot, especially since I can see, a whole cast of Pokemon in Pokemon Camp. One of the big things I was really craving from Pokemon recently was to see, a Pokemon Ranch or Pokemon something like that, where you can just have a little console filled with where your TV screen becomes just a little quaint place with your Pokemon just chilling out, having fun, interacting with each other, and I liked that a lot. The animation work here is great. However, I wonder how justified it is, because if this is the Pokemon A-Me replacement, which I'm pretty positive it is, what are you doing to incentivize players to actually use it? There's a whole chunk of people that play Pokemon and don't even know what Pokemon A-Me is, which is unfortunate. I think you have to make this worth it for everyone. You have to have something that draws the players in from everywhere to use this mode if you're going to put this much love into the animations here.
Well, I'm actually surprised that Pokemon A-Me is something that they've continually gone back to. Now, they've called it different things since Pokemon X and Y. Obviously, Pokemon Camp being the newest iteration. I'm surprised that this is something that they continue to work with, but I am impressed with some of the things that they said that they are going to include, so we might as well talk about some of those. You can also play with your Pokemon camping. There are several toys that your Pokemon will enjoy. Excuse me. You can play with them using a Poke Toy or a variety of bouncing balls. Take some time to play with your Pokemon and get to know them better. Stop by other Pokemon camps set up by other players. The wild area is a vast expanse of open land in the Galar region. There are lots of different ways to connect with other players in the wild area, and Pokemon camps are just one example. You can join the camp of another player or have other players visit your own camp until a total of 4 players are gathered to interact with Pokemon or make some curry. If you come across a tent while using local communications or when connected to the internet, it is a sign that another player has set up their Pokemon camp there. You can take one of your party Pokemon with you, so why not have a look and join their camp? Membership in Nintendo Switch Online paid service is required for joining other players' Pokemon camps using internet connection. You do not need to have a membership to play with other players using local communication features. So there is the incentive, I think. The ability to interact with other people within your friends list who do have the game, either locally or online. So being able to camp with, your friends' Pokemon, and apparently they did say in the trailer that there would be some additional gains to actually going to your friend's camp. They didn't specifically say what you would get access to, like what features you would unlock by doing that, but they did say that you will have access to additional gains. And last but not least, the NyceOne curry. In your Pokemon camp, you'll be able to make wondrous curries that are hugely popular in the Galar region. Curry is a dish with tons of variety. You can create curries of many different flavors depending on which ingredients and berries you choose to add to your pot. Pour your heart into your cooking and create a delicious plate of curry. The first step to cooking up some curry is choosing the ingredients you want to add. The type of curry you'll make will change depending on what ingredients and berries you'll choose to put in. So I noticed a couple of things about this that were very intriguing to me. This is definitely the Breath of the Wild influences that they said they had. Obviously, the cooking mechanic from Breath of the Wild, but this is also your Pokemon Go mechanic being tossed into the game. Where you throw your heart into the pot. It looks like very similar to like the timing the timing used to catch a Pokemon in Pokemon Let's Go and Pokemon Go. again, that's an interesting way of going about adding those two separate features to the game. I know they did say Breath of the Wild was a huge inspiration to the development of this game, and I'm not surprised that there is a cooking mechanic. I'm surprised that it's as limited as this, whereas Breath of the Wild was, cook anywhere you want as long as you have fire and ingredients.
I want to also mention a few more things about Pokemon Camp. This also, based on what you've told me with the online features, could be the first replacement we've seen for secret bases in a while.
Yes.
We haven't seen those since, I think, Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And so I'd like to see, the ability to customize these camps a bit more. That'd be great. And secondly, I think there's a leak that actually mentioned camping previously before. I'm not sure what all the leak had said, but now that we know that Pokemon Camp is real, I think the leak also mentioned that it would have Pokemon sleep support. So it makes sense, and I think if that leak is now proven right by this existence of Pokemon Camp, expect Pokemon Sleep to support Pokemon Camp.
This is cool to me, though. I think that this is the proper evolution of Pokemon Ami.
I think so. Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the things that they're saying that you can do in this particular, version of it are pretty cool. Like, the interaction with other people in your, your friends lists who have the game, going to their camps, engaging with their Pokemon, all that's cool. Like any new additional ways to get some gains. It's one of my favorite things about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, are if you use the Pokeball Go Plus, you put a Pokemon in the Pokeball Plus, you get so many advantages to doing that. You can overload yourself on rare candies. You can get a bunch of the Pokemon candy that help you boost the stats of your Pokemon. So many great things. The only thing they don't give you for some reason are more Pokeballs. But yeah, I do like any way to get additional gains. I do like the ability to interact with my friends in more ways than just the Dynamax battles in the wide area. So I think all this is cool, and of course, you'll probably have your traditional Pokemon Ami type experiences with like feeding your Pokemon, petting your Pokemon, grooming your Pokemon, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things they didn't announce in the actual trailer that we are seeing here is that there will be different forms of Alcremie, up to 16 forms.
I was about to say, there's a green Alcremie in the background twice.
Yep.
So.
And Cerebi has reported that there will be 16 different types of Alcremie. Very cool.
Different flavors.
People already want to eat this Pokemon. This poor Pokemon's so screwed.
I mean, it's the internet.
Another feature that they've added to the game that wasn't announced in the trailer is surprise trading. All right. So we already know that you can do trades, but we've got some terminology that we haven't seen yet. In these games, you can use the Y-Com to do things like trade Pokemon and have link battles via the internet or local communications. If you see a stamp pop up during your adventure, it might be a sign that another player is looking for somebody to connect with. You'll be able to trade and have link battles with friends by checking these stamps, but they can also be invitations from people you've never met before. So guys, I'm getting this information directly from Pokemon.com. So it's swordshields.pokemon.com. So if you're not seeing this information, you're wondering where I'm pulling it up, I'm not pulling it out of my ass. So they have not discussed the Y-Com in any trailer.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was about to say. I want to see more of this Y-Com. We see a bit of the interface here as well.
Mm-hmm. So you have your link trade, surprise trade, swap cards. Don't know what that is.
Trainer cards.
Oh yeah, you're right. Your link battles, your profile, and your search stamps. Let's go ahead and read some of this off. One of the features available on the Y-Com is surprise trades. Select a Pokemon from your boxes that you're willing to trade, and that's it. A trading partner will automatically be found as you continue your adventure. The game will keep trying to match you with a trading partner, even as you engage in Pokemon battles or other activities you'll find while exploring Galar, so there's no need to hunt for a trading partner or feel like you're left waiting. This is nice. This is going back to what they were doing in Pokemon X and Y. Where you could always be connected, but continue to do the base game. It was one of the biggest downgrades of Pokemon Sun and Moon, that in order to trade and search for a battle and send invitations was you were always in that screen.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible interface in Sun and Moon. I'm
that
sorry.
Killed
as much
Sun and
as
Moon's online for me.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. And I do think that the online going there doing that stuff was fun, but because I always had to go to a separate screen that would take me outside of the scope of normal gameplay, I rarely used it.
I like the Festival Plaza and the Black and White Shopping Mall. I want to see those return, but I don't want to have to be forced to be in those places to play online. That's my big no-no there.
What's bothering me is I don't remember the name of what they called it in X and Y.
The player search system, the PSS.
PSS, thank you.
Yeah. And I like.
So this is basically a return to the PSS.
But I like this better than the PSS a whole lot. Because one, it's so with the PSS, even though you didn't have to leave, the main game to use it, you were given sort of a. You still had to manually interact with it. This is more like a background queuing system to me. So you would have to, just open up it's always open, but use the PSS, find someone, navigate through it, and a lot of the times, people on the PSS would just not respond to your stuff, or they would decline it. But this way, I get matched. If I want a link battle, someone else in the world is looking for a link battle, and I'll be matched up with that person. And waiting for that will not really be an issue, because I can play the game and have it look for a partner in the background. And that is great to me. I love that.
Agreed. All right, going back to surprise trades. Mm-hmm. These trades can be carried out with players from around the world. If you're using the internet, but with local communication, you can even get a trade from someone around you before you know what's happening. Head out to lots of different places and see if you can get a surprise trade. You won't know what Pokemon you'll get in exchange for your Pokemon until you actually receive it. If you're lucky, you might end up with a rare Pokemon. This is a returning feature. I don't remember what it was called in previous Pokemon games. I'm such a neglectful Pokemon.
Wonder Trade.
Wonder Trade, yes.
It's not Wonder Trade, though. It's slightly different.
Yeah, it's similar, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, membership
it's in the background than it was with
Yeah, with Wonder Trade you were actively participating in the trade. Membership in the Nintendo Switch Online pay service is required to participate in link trades, link battles using the internet. There's no need to set up a membership for local communication use. All right, so there's that. So again, we're starting to see a lot more features. It's upsetting that this wasn't part of the specific trailer. I didn't know this stuff came out until I was working on the show notes. Mm-hmm. Went to Pokemon.com because I wanted to get the new Pokemon character descriptions, and I saw all this new stuff, and I'm like, we have yet to see this. This has not been mentioned in This is important news. I would say that all the extra stuff that they showcase in Pokemon Camp and the trading and the YCOM is so important to what this online community is going to be all about.
The YCOM not seeing it would have made or break the game for me. So now that I actually see it, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, and I know Mario After Party had come to me with worries about the online systems because of the level of ineptitude that was utilized for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It's a very bad system if you want to trade or battle someone, because you use the Pokemon codes that are, even if you randomize them to the highest possible degree, you can still end up in a random Pokemon battle. And again, with the way they set up the rule set, you could end up playing in a rule set that you didn't actually, specifically sign up for. This is a heavy dose of reality that this is going to be a very inclusive online service. Mm-hmm. And now it just comes down to how well this will actually run going forward, because Pokemon Sun and Moon has some sluggish online, especially in battles, especially with Z moves. You performed a Z move online, man, that Z move takes you 3 minutes.
Naganadell's Z move, or Ultra Necrozma Z move is, oh boy.
Whatever, Raichu's Z move, man, his surfing Z move, that thing lasts 20 minutes.
But bigger Pokemon, a lot of legendaries, they lag in themselves, and then their Z moves lag extra hard.
You know what the problem is? It's that compression. That compression we talked. It's about having 15 different lilies in the game.
It's that the models were future-proofed. It's those future-proofed models is why. The 3DS can't support those models.
Well,
there's so many polygons on those models it lags, even though the polygons aren't showing.
yeah. So, I mean, there's a whole lot to look forward to here. If I'm being honest, like, this online system does give me a lot of hope for what this game is going to be when it finally does release on November 15th.
I also want to mention that there'll still be like a fake Twitter in here as well on the screenshots. Just like hey, Victor just said I'm at my camp planning to spend some time with my Pokemon. So there's going to be like the news system and like the fake social system that they have in there too, looks like.
True that. All right, so another feature that was not revealed in the trailer was making your very own league card. Pokemon trainers in the Galar region make league cards for themselves. These cards provide detailed information about the trainer, and they are traded and given out across the region. As a trainer, you also have your own league card. You can use the card maker function in Rotomi to customize your card until you hit a design you are happy with. The card maker will give you a lot of freedom in editing your league card. You'll be able to change the background, the frame, and your expression, your pose, and more. If you're looking at the screenshots on swordshield.pokemon.com, you are seeing that there's a bevy of poses that look a whole lot of fun. These are very reminiscent to what they've recently added to Pokemon Go with the poses, except you don't have to pay $5 for them. You hear me, Niantic?
You pay $60 for the Pokemon game, though.
Yeah, but guess what? It's not an additional Niantic. It's not an extra $5 to do a pose. And okay. I do like the look of the Pokemon cards. They're very cool. The league cards, and I like the fact that you'll be able to train them. It is the return of the trader card feature. But it's like a lot more in depth.
But they've added the PR videos from X and Y, which no one ever used because they were so stupid complicated. And why would you just trade a video? But the trainer card makes a whole lot more sense in that context, and I like that a lot. But this also looks to be, a famous, very popular fan feature that people would do. They'd make fake trainer cards and they put their top 6 Pokemon. Right now, I don't see a slot to put your Pokemon, but I'd love to, say, hey, this is my team on my trainer league card. Sorry, league card. That's what they're called now.
Yeah.
So that's the one feature I think would make this popular, because it's already a popular fan thing to just make that like outline of our template and fill it in with Pokemon. Having an in-game way to do that would just end everything. People would
absolutely love it. Completely agree. Mm-hmm. All right, but last but not least, we got the showcasing of 2 new Pokemon. So I want to start with Cramorant. This is the new bird Pokemon. It is category Gulp Pokemon. Its typing is Flying Water. Its height is 2 foot 7 inches. Its weight is 39.7 pounds, and its ability is Gulp Missile, which is a brand new ability to Pokemon Sword and Shield. All right, character description. A voracious eater, Cramorant is insatiable. When it comes to food, it will try to swallow anything it can fit in its mouth. Sometimes it will swallow things that aren't its intended prey, spitting them out in a hurry once it realizes its mistake. It never forgets its bond with its trainer. Cramorant can be forgetful, but it will never forget a trainer it grows to trust. However, it seems even trainers will face fierce attacks from their Cramorants if they try to steal its food. Now, I love the ability Gulp Missile. So if you perform Surf or Dive, your Cramorant will dive into the water, and it will come out with a fish in its mouth occasionally. If it happens to take damage on the opponent's turn, it will retaliate by launching the fish from its mouth. And this move is pretty comical when they showed it. I got a good laugh out of watching it regurgitate a fish projectile-wise. So, its official description. Cramorant's ability, Gulp Missile, is a new ability introduced in these titles. It can be triggered during battles. After Cramorant uses Surf or Dives, it will return with a catch in its mouth. If it takes damage while in this state, Cramorant will retaliate by spitting out its catch at the attacker. Again, exactly how I described it. I think the attack is hilarious.
I really like the idea of a counterattack and ability that triggers, when you use a move and can sometimes trigger. I think that's kind of cool. He is just worst Pelipper. I did a whole report on Cormorants, the bird, that this is based off of recently as well, so I'm an expert on the subject now. I've got questions about that, let me know, I got you back. However, I had another point that I just forgot, didn't I? Oh yeah, what is the fish in Cormorant's mouth?
Don't know.
I think
it's not a Pokemon we've seen before.
it is not, and we know that real fish don't exist, right? Real fish are just not a thing.
Well, real animals don't happen to exist in the Pokemon world.
That's my point here. So it's got to be a different Pokemon, one that it's going to be like the Magikarp of the region.
I was thinking, my thought process for it was, it's like when a Cloyster hooks onto a Slowpoke, how it's formed. It doesn't, like, they tell you it's a Cloyster. I'm sorry, is it Cloyster?
It's Shelder.
Shelder, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah.
Which, it's not a Cloyster. It's not a Shelder. It's a spiral thingy.
Yeah. Like how it takes on a different form when it's attached to a Slowpoke. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to see another Water-type Pokemon, specifically this fish's true form. And it'll be very similar to like what happens when it attaches itself, when a Shelder attaches to a Slowpoke.
It doesn't seem quite right to me. That seems very far-fetched.
I'm going with that. That's the only way I can logically justify this weird fish.
I could see like a Galarian Magikarp, but I could also just see it being the Magikarp for the region. But I don't see it being much else.
All right, so next up we're going to have to agree to disagree here.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have our second new Pokemon and last new Pokemon for this particular trailer. Polteageist. So, I love the name, but I also dislike the name because it's so close to Luigi's Mansion. Like, I'm going to confuse Polteageist and Poltergust 5000.
Polteageist. Just call it that. Make it a flying type. Come on.
So, Polteageist, its category is the Black T Pokemon. Its typing is Ghost. Its height is 8 inches. Its weight is 0.9 pounds. And it has the brand new ability of Weak Armor.
Weak Armor is not a new ability.
Wait.
It is not new. Weak Armor is not new. Garbodor has it. Lots of Pokemon have Weak Armor.
Could have swore it was new. Oh, well. It doesn't matter.
No.
It reminds me a whole lot of the... visually, it reminded me of when Mimikyu gets his ass, like, his neck broken. So I have to point this out because I'm sure he'll kill me if I don't mention it. Mario After Party says this looks like Mrs. Potts has been murdered from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, he says that this is Miss Potts, she's been murdered, and that ghost is what was left over.
Now, isn't the Tale of Beauty and the Beast from, like, England, right?
No, France.
France, okay. This is
I'm ashamed to say I know
Pokemon, then. This has got to be a Kalos. Because I was going to say, like, that would fit the lore of Galar so well, but no, it fits Kalos lore. Of course it does.
So, its official description goes as follows. Black tea with a distinct aroma and flavor. Polteageist's body is made from black tea and is said to have a very distinct aroma and flavor. It will allow a trainer it trusts to sample its tea. However, drinking too much can lead to indigestion or an upset stomach, so be careful. Pests for hotels and restaurants. Many Polteageists make their homes inside hotels and restaurants, disguising themselves and hiding among tableware. They can pour their power into leftover tea and create even more of their kind, so they're often treated as pests. That's just creepy. That's just creepy. So, like, you pour it into a little teacup, and then the teacup comes to life and jacks you up. So it's like Rotom.
One thing that I think is very odd is that they specifically say black tea. I think that, well, I know he's purple, but the fact that they could have just said he's made of tea. Why specifically black tea? Which makes me think we're gonna see multiple tea Pokemon in this generation. There's gonna be a black tea. There's gonna be a green tea.
We have different forms of Alcremie, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see.
We're gonna see every single type of tea. It's tea time in England, right?
Oh, it's that little bird that not Picky Peck, the bird from Alola that has all the different forms based on where you catch it.
Oh,
Flower bird.
It has not Pom Pom. I want to call it Pom Pom of all things. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh, I failed. I am not a true Pokemon fan. Gosh.
Oricorio.
All right, you got it before me. Oricorio. All right.
Yeah, I could see them doing like an Oricorio type with Polteageist.
Okay, yeah, I see that for sure.
But yeah, I mean, cool Pokemon trailer, like but somewhat disappointing, because we didn't get like the starter evolutions. But if you go to Pokemon.com, there was so much more that should have been in the trailer. Like, I mean, people are looking for reasons to like crap on this game. The features that they announced with the YCOM, like the in-depth analysis of Pokemon Camp, all this stuff should have been directly in the Direct. It would have been better, or they should have had something separate of the Direct to make these announcements, and they didn't. And if you do it now, it'll be old information.
Mm-hmm. Which also isn't like everything we learned about the next game, Animal Crossing, all just old information. Segue into that. Are you muted?
No, I'm sorry. I was going through. We are up to 21 new Pokemon now. New Pokemon, which it feels like the rate of which we are getting Pokemon is super slow in comparison to Pokemon Sun and Moon.
So does that actually include Zigzagoon?
That includes Zigzagoon and Weezing in their Galarian form.
All right, got it. Okay.
I was calling them new because of the their altered forms. So yeah, like not a whole lot of extra stuff that we may have anticipated for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but again, stuff that I think highly important to the promotion of this game that not showcased in a highly promoted Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it is what it is. Moving on from Pokemon Sword and Shield, we got the Nintendo Switch Online SNES titles.
Right.
20 new games, or 20 Super NES games, retro games, all with added online features. Super Ghosts and Goblins with some online features might make that game playable, because that game is freaking hard. Aside from that, I'm surprised at some of the games that were missing from the initial lineup. Like, where's Donkey Kong Country? Where's Donkey Kong Country? Now, I'm really hoping that the release schedule for these Super NES titles is a lot more expansive than what they did on the 3DS and on the Wii U eShop. I feel like we get the same, 50 Super NES games all the time.
Yeah, we do.
The Super NES has such a large library. Let's get some more of these bigger games. Can we finally get Turtles in Time? Can we get Turtles in Time with some online features?
How many games besides those 50 do people really just eat up every single time you release them?
I would buy Turtles in Time as many times as you release it. I promise you. I'm about to buy that arcade machine that's coming out this holiday season just so I could play those old Ninja Turtle games. Screw that shit. There's a whole lot of stuff. Can we get NBA Jam? Can we get
NBA Jam is N64 though.
No,
is there
NBA
a SNES version?
There's a SNES version.
What? I never knew.
Can we get Looney Tunes Basketball? That game was amazing. Can we get Tiny Toon Adventure? Dude, there's a bunch of Super NES titles that don't exist, that don't get love.
It is.
The Super NES library is vast, and Nintendo barely scratches the surface with the games that they bring over. So this 20 games, guess what, guys? There's only 30 more coming out because they released the same 50 games over. And guess what? Super Mario RPG will be part of that next wave. Bet money. Anyhow, I'm ranting. I'm happy these are finally here. I'm happy that they're coming out with a Super NES controller specifically for people who have Nintendo Switch Online memberships. Pretty much the only way to get that controller is through that. I'm pissed that in the last set you got 2 controllers, and in this set you just get the 1. Really? I'm also pissed that there's no way to store the control. There's no way to attach the controller onto the Switch unit itself. I get it. The L and R buttons just make the controller fatter, guys. There were ways. Nintendo, you just didn't take those options. Well, I mean, USB-C charging is good still as well. Look, I'm not dissatisfied with the selection of games. I'm a little dissatisfied at a year later that we're getting these games, from when they were supposed to be out. I'm also just disenfranchised with the way Nintendo releases Super NES titles. So as cool as this information is, I have to take it with a grain of salt because I know there's legitimately 30 more games that are going to come out. And 2 of those games are very different iterations of Street Fighter, which they've released on the Nintendo Switch twice already through various Capcom collections.
Jeez.
See, I'm jaded. I'm so jaded. Anyhow,
let's move on.
Yeah,
Animal Crossing.
No, Mario Sonic at the Olympics, bro.
Stop. I want to talk about Animal Crossing.
Mario Sonic at the Olympics 2020, Tokyo. The more they show about this game, the more I want it. They didn't show anything different from what they showed at Gamescom, except for just a higher resolution trailers, and the addition of a story mode that will go back to 1964's Tokyo Olympics, which is kind of neat. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, yeah, you're gonna go back in time.
And it uses the retro art style. I love
exactly, that. Yeah. So, very cool. Love the addition of a story mode. The mini games in this game all look great. This game just looks better and better every time they show it. And part of me is ashamed to admit that. Because I don't want to be amped for this game because it is a Mario Sonic at the Olympic Games. But then I'm like, yo, this game looks legit.
Would it sell you if I told you that Zavik from Sonic Lost World would be playable in this game? No, it would not sell you. Really?
Not like that game.
But they're really pushing for Zavik in like every Sonic game now. He's just like a character that they're like really pushing for, and I don't know why. It's like no one played Lost World. Who knows who Zavik is? He's playable in the
I played it. I just hated it.
I mean, like, I didn't. I tried a friend's copy for like 5 minutes. Like, no. And everyone owned a Wii U. It's like, okay, so why push for this character so hard? He's in Sonic Forces. He's in the Olympics, but no one played the original game. Give us chaos.
All right, so games that we're just going to mention. We're not going to go into any kind of detail. Daemon X Machina. That game's coming out next week, but it is getting a new demo I think is actually out already. And the progress that you make in the demo will be transported to the full version release. Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. This is an old game that still looks old, so what was the point? The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I thought this game was out already for some reason.
Does it come out this month, though?
Yeah, but I thought it was already out, so...
No.
Yeah. Anyway, Assassin's Creed, the Rebel Collection. So what is this? Assassin's Creed 4 and Black Flag? No, I'm sorry, Black Flag and the Black Flag DLC.
Yeah, essentially.
Dauntless, Call of Cthulhu, and Vampire. All these games, I probably only care about Daemon X Machina.
I care about Dauntless. Dauntless is cool. It's Monster Hunter. It's free to play Monster Hunter. How can you go wrong with that? You know.
Isn't Monster Hunter like online though?
Yeah. So is Dauntless.
Okay. Well, I guess. I have so little interest in Dauntless. But yeah, no exposition. Let's go into Animal Crossing, and I'm just going to shut up and let Blooz talk.
Oh, no, I don't really want to say anything about Animal Crossing.
I don't know if you guys watched my live reaction to this, but during this section of the the Direct, I was playing with my dog. I had so very little interest in this that I wasn't paying attention because they legit just straight up told you.
Everything we already knew.
Yeah, we've already told you about Animal Crossing. We're going to tell you about it again since you forgot what we told you at E3. Here's the online multiplayer. So basically, yeah, I'm going to go to my friend's island. I'm going to dig up all their trees. I'm going to leave and never come back.
Don't be that guy.
I took all your trees, bitch.
Don't be that guy.
All right.
Animal Crossing, it looks, I've gotten more at peace with it. I'm still not totally thrilled about the direction they're going in, but I don't hate it as much as I did. They showed literally nothing new, although getting a better look at the pole vault, I'm a bit more okay with the pole vault now.
Didn't we get a definitive release date officially now with the March 20th of 2020?
Maybe. I thought we already had that, though.
I feel like they just announced that, but I could be wrong. We haven't seen it since E3.
Yeah.
All right. So, last but not least, they always have that one big kicker game. I was actually really surprised about this one. I was not expecting a port as their like heavy-hitting title. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. It looks like a remastered version of the Wii title. It completely looks like it's crapping on... It looks like you took the 3DS version, mixed it with the Wii version, and still came out with something that looks 4 times better.
It's exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
It looks more in line with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 art style.
No,
I thought it's
better than that.
I thought it looked more in line with like a little bit more anime styles than because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had that like heavy anime influence. This doesn't fully broach into that like complete anime style, but it gets closer to that art direction.
I will agree with that. I saw this and I was so happy because there's a very large amount of people that have not played the first Xenoblade, and there's a lot of people that are more interested now that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is pretty successful on the Switch.
Well, it's an unmitigated success. It's the most successful Xenoblade game they've ever released.
But like Xenoblade Chronicles games still don't do that well. JRPGs don't do as great in the West as is. But the fans are here for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 now, and you should play 1. If you have not played either of these games, what's stopping you? You have 2 great ones to pick from. I recommend you start with 1, but you don't even have to. Because there's, even though it is a somewhat direct sequel, I would recommend
it's also separate.
I would recommend you beat 1 first. You can start them at any point, but beat 1 first. You don't even really have to, but it loses a lot of the impact.
Yeah, the subtle connections that they made between the 2 games, specifically near the end of the game, are great. Like it's so fly by, and with the exception of that one identical cutscene, which is still not completely identical. It's actually slightly different in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There is like a subtle like blurb of dialogue that
don't spoil it for the fans. Just
easily missable if you haven't played the first game.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But it has so much weight to if you have played the first one. So please play the first one. But if you've not given these games a shot, or you have just the slightest bit of interest but don't want to make that push, please give it a shot. It is worth the journey.
The existence of Malos is like a direct tie.
Yeah,
it's like such a direct reference to Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It's a great game. Like, granted, I actually prefer 2 to 1. I prefer Rex over Shulk, and I know that's kind of like a hot take.
Yeah, no, Shulk is a perfect game character. Rex is a moron.
No, I'm sorry. Rex may be a moron, but Shulk is too emo for me. He's just so... Okay. He's Sasuke. Right. He's Cloud. Okay. He's like...
Well, I don't think that's bad.
Every like emo shonen archetype that exists in Japan, that is Shulk.
Okay.
And his voice is just so whiny. His voice is just so whiny. It's so whiny.
But Rex's voice is so much worse.
Yes, Rex has a bad voice actor, but at least it's a bad voice actor. It's not like a semi-decent voice actor
doing a bad job.
Yeah, just grating on my ears because he's so whiny. Oh, she's dead. Shut up. She's dead. Deal with it.
Okay, but I'm gonna defend Shulk. I think you can't say that you prefer Rex.
Totally prefer Rex, man. Better costume, cooler sword.
Cooler sword, I'll give you that.
Same ability with the sword, but the sword is cooler and it's hotter.
But definitely give these games a shot.
Ira for life.
We're just waiting on a Xenoblade 3 and/or export at this point. Or just whatever.
You know how many people are probably super pissed that this wasn't the export?
Me, but I'm also not like that devastated because I love 1 still. But like X is the definitive game of all 3 of them. Like, and we need an X too. Like
specifically
that.
Since the cliffhanger of X. Yeah. Like I haven't played X, but I did go through every synopsis that the game has, and I'm like, oh wow, that sucks. I would hate to have actually gone through that whole 200-hour game to figure that out.
Like the grinding in that game was stupid. Like I wouldn't even manage just having to play through it if the grinding to get through it on both levels and actual connections. You have to bond with certain characters and have them in your party to actually progress the story. Those are the 2 grinds I hated in that game. But other than that, it was flawless. I would say that my favorite in terms of like combat is probably 2, because 2 just streamlined everything so much nicer than both 1 and X. 1 and X, I think, had the more in-depth combat systems that were more fun, but they were too clunky, and 2 really streamlined them a whole lot better. So I don't know. That's my hot take.
So what's nice about Xenoblade Chronicles 1, something that I think actually makes it stand out from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. In Chronicles 2, there are multiple Titans that you know that are of different varieties that you will travel to and from. All of them unique. In Xenoblade Chronicles 1, there are only 2 Titans, Mechanus and Bionis.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But those 2 Titans pretty much encapsulate every type of like scenery that you will get across. What is it? The 8 Titans that are in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's either
there's like 8, but there's also like mini Titans, and there's like the Argentum Trade Guild, and I don't even know what all there is. Honestly, there's stupid stuff.
Like,
and there's also like not Myth, whatever it's called.
The Elysium.
Yeah. No. That's the World Tree.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, back to my original point.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 Titans make for a more intimate setting.
I agree.
The games are about equal in length. If I'm being fair, but the two Titans do make the game feel more intimate, and you do see like the same types of terrain within both games. Like, you're not left wanting because there are less Titans in Xenoblade 1. And I will say, maybe like the characters outside of Shulk are a little bit more endearing in Chronicles 1. The story is almost... I will say the story is slightly better in 1. I do think 2 did like a fantastic job of like maintaining. And then again, the subtle connections between the 2 games make for like one amazing like odyssey. Like, between like really playing one game is
picking it's half the adventure.
Yeah. You're not getting like all of it, and it's sad because like both games fit so well together. The connections that these 2 games have made are so freaking great. Especially like the whole parallel universe like themes that they bring. Oh man, you cannot truly enjoy this franchise with just the one game. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
You can enjoy the games. They will be fantastic games as individual games, but as like one Chronicle, fantastic. And we still don't know how Chronicles X fits into this picture. There are some hints as to how it may, but I don't feel like the connections are strong enough. I kind of see that as like its own thing.
I think it should be its own thing. I think that's where I prefer it the most.
Like there are hints, like from what I've gathered, but it's not enough to like make like the same kind of connection you were able to make between Chronicles 1 and 2.
No. I like thinking of X as its own separate series that's just inspired by Xenoblade.
I hope this opens the door to more Xeno games, like on the Switch, like some of the older ones, some of the Bandai Namco produced ones.
Those, as well as, can I get Baten Kaitos, please? Baten Kaitos would be awesome.
I'm alright with Baten Kaitos, but Xenogears would be nice.
Like, I want Xenogears a whole lot, but I just want Baten Kaitos just a little bit more, because that one game was just so unique. Cosmos is a great character, but Baten Kaitos, oof, Baten Kaitos.
Well, guys, that's actually going to wrap up the Direct. That's like everything. I know we glossed over a lot and still somehow got to 2 hours.
It was a big Direct.
It was, yeah. There was something like 40 titles unveiled. It seemed like if you include the stuff that was in the montage, I think there were like 17 like major things that they chose to focus on, and then the additional like 20 games that they threw in there in the montage, which I care not about any of them, by the way.
And there's also like a lot of other weird things that we didn't even talk about at all, like the Tetris 99 update.
Yeah.
We didn't go over all of the stuff that was talked about in Smash, etc. We even glossed over completely some stuff.
Yeah, I was trying to do it for brevity's sake, and it's been a while since I've recorded. I'm still
recovering.
Semi under the weather, so I'm like, I wanted to like keep this as concise as possible. But again, oh, that sucks. I just popped into Twitter. For the moment, the doors closed on a new deal between Sony and Disney that would allow Marvel Studios to continue to produce Spider-Man movies in the MCU, says Sony. Sony. I get so absolutely frustrated with the promotion of Nintendo in America. 7-Eleven in Canada is promoting Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening featuring reusable cups and a Switch Lite contest. They are Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Slurpee cups. And they look awesome. There are 3 of them. I love Slurpees because I'm a fat boy. And I like collectible cups. Damn you, Nintendo.
Where's my Steelbook? I want that Game Boy Steelbook. Come on.
Yeah, so anyway, enough dilly-dallying. Let's go ahead and wrap this show up because I'm starting to get frustrated with Nintendo.
All right, yeah.
I'm getting frustrated with Nintendo promotion. Anyway, so let's go ahead and grade this Nintendo Direct. There was a lot of good. There was a lot of bad. There were some missed opportunities in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and give the Direct a solid B. Nothing like so mind-blowingly out of the water that like I was ecstatic during any announcement that was made, but I wasn't too disappointed with the announcements. The having to dig for additional Pokemon news, that was the thing that the biggest missed opportunity that I think the Direct presented us with. You made it a point to highlight that you would be discussing Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then you didn't give us like, you didn't give us the meat of that information, like the good stuff of the information that was released wasn't part of the actual Nintendo Direct. I don't think they showed enough of Little Town Heroes. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more in depth, specifically since the game is coming out in roughly 30 days. I feel like this was your opportunity to give us a more in-depth look at that game, and I'm hoping that like with closer to 2 weeks to the release of the game, you give us stronger information because right now like we don't know enough about the game. Overwatch coming to the Switch, not a big deal for me. Maybe other people will find that news a lot more appealing. I think it's too little too late. Finally got the amiibo support for Link's Awakening. Yeah, I think all in all, it was a solid B. I was hoping that we'd get a December release game, but as of right now, it looks like there's not going to be a major December release. And Xenoblade Chronicles should have been it, by the way. That 2020 like release date on Xenoblade, that was a killer. That was the disappointing news right there.
Because with 2 was like a big holiday build-up title for them, and so having X miss that slot is kind of rough for X. I'm calling it X now. Xenoblade 1 missed that slot is kind of rough for its own sales.
I think the fact that it did get released in December is what really like promoted the sales of that game.
The lack of other games that month.
Yeah. So, no big December release. I think you missed the ball. You dropped the ball by not putting Xenoblade as that December game, but it is what it is. You can't control Nintendo. One thing I've learned with 30 years of being a Nintendo fan is that you can rarely predict what Nintendo's going to do, and you can never actually tell them what to do.
I would also give them a solid B. I was thinking maybe a B+, but there really wasn't anything that would make it... Like, when I think of B+, I'm thinking like just shy of an A-. And I think it wasn't really quite there, so I'm going to leave it a solid B as well. You said that the major missed opportunity was the Pokemon. I thought that personally the Animal Crossing, just how you just recycled information, was just a dropped opportunity.
Oh yeah, because that ate up a lot of time, and they spent a lot of time. What was it, like 10 to 12 minutes on specifically information that we already knew about?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest missed opportunity. I know you personally aren't too big into Animal Crossing, but a lot of people that love Animal Crossing were foaming at the mouth for new information. You got the same old information. And while I'm not that crazed about it, I would have liked to at least see something new. To put it blunt.
Yeah, anything new about the game would have probably, like, just one piece of new information might have gone a long way at satiating people's, like, desire for that particular game.
Beyond that, like you said, there was nothing really crazy shown. I mean, I love Xenoblade, but it is a Wii port at this point. I've played it on both the Wii and 3DS. It's an older game at this point. Fantastic, best RPG ever, but it's nothing to get too hyped over at this point. Overwatch, like I said, a little bit too late. But there was no game that was really like, well, why would I care about that game for the most part? A lot of the games are very solid, exciting titles, but nothing that really is really a big standout right now, no.
Okay, so as we speak, Nintendo has released a new trailer for a new style of game that looks like a proper successor to Wii Fit. They haven't announced the game, but it comes with this circle spring and a little leg attachment for your Joy-Con. So you wrap the Joy-Con around your thigh.
Like Labo.
And it looks like it's going to track your leg movements, and then you have a spring that you attach another Joy-Con in, and you can do, like, thigh crushes, and you can squeeze it, and a whole bunch of these yoga poses. Yeah, it's essentially, it looks like a small springy hula hoop.
Yeah.
This is a successor to Wii Fit.
Switch Fit, boys.
Switch Fit.
So I see Paris. I see shake weights. I see.
Yeah. Gotta love it when. So yeah, we're gonna find out more about this game on September 12th. So we're gonna call that the successor to Wii Fit. Weird. Guys, this is what happens when I check Twitter, like right as we're closing out the show. It looks so weird. Blooz is not exaggerating his movements. He is not exaggerating his movements.
Excited about this? They're like cheering, like it's a whole party. Why are this is?
It's very weird. All right, but with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I agree. It is a solid B for the Nintendo Direct. But with that said, let's hit you up with these social media links. You can hit me up on Twitter at NyceOne983. You can email me at NyceOne983@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Nintendo Power Zone. If you are a fan of the Nintendo Power Zone podcast, you can download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, stream new episodes on Spotify and Stitcher Radio. But if you want to watch the video version of the show, you got to catch us right here on YouTube, youtube.com/Nintendo Power Zone. Blooz.
Give me a second after that glory I just watched. I am the King Blooz. You can follow me at Twitter at the King Blooz. Blooz as always spelled Blooz. You can also follow me on YouTube and Twitch as well.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us today. And remember to stay fresh. Deuces.